Welcome to the first episode of Iron Insight. I'm BrynWelds.
And I'm Andrew Nichols with Southern Leatherworks.
In this first episode, we're going to talk about how we got started in welding, what made us so passionate about it, why we started this podcast, and why we're not going to monetize it for a while.
So, Bryn, why don't you go ahead and start off by telling me how you got started in the welding industry?
So my dad was a welder when I was a kid, and over time, I really had no plans on what I was going to do, and I decided in high school, why not take this welding class? I have no manual labor skills. I know nothing. I don't know any tools. I don't know the names of the tools. I don't know what they do. So I was like, we might as well get something useful out of this high school because they definitely won't teach me how to do my taxes. And so I went and tried welding, and I really hated it because I had bad anger issues. But seeing the growth over time is what really made me passionate. And then I thought I was good, but I wasn't. So I started posting on social media. And over time, I grew a pretty decent following. And I think that also helps the passion. What about you?
Those bend tests with Professor Brandon were probably sparking a lot of anger there then?
Yeah. But our teacher, we both had the same teachers. We went to college together in Central Community College in Grand Island, Nebraska. And yeah, Brandon would fail anything in the beginning, which is the way to do it. Because
Absolutely.
if they think they get so good if he's going to have loose standards, then people are going to get sufficient with their horrible work.
Yeah.
So he really just broke hearts for the first semester, I'd say.
Yeah, and like you said, you thought you were good, and then you realized you weren't, and it was probably after you broke a few bend tests or a couple people told you on TikTok that you weren't that great that you realized, wow, I'm actually not that good. I had the same realization.
I got lucky when I started posting. I think the community of welders on TikTok were a lot more supportive of young guys, but now I go into see somebody that is doing just what I did when I started, and they're just dogging on him in the comments, which, I mean, he's going to get thick skin, but which you'll need because a lot of shit talk happens.
Yep.
But I don't think
industry.
Yeah, I don't think you should discourage him to the point where he quits.
No.
Yeah, there's a way to do it.
There is definitely a way to do it, and just straight up discouragement is not the way to do it. That's for sure.
So why did you get into welding?
So it's a long story, but basically my mom's masseuse, she went to get a massage from this one lady, and her husband did welding apprenticeships every now and then. He hadn't done one in like quite a few years, and mom twisted his arm into letting me come out there. So I went out there and met the old man, and this is in, little podunk town called Spar down there in Florida, way out in the boonies. We're out there, no phone service, nothing. And he took me in and he let me clean his shop and cut up stock steel just to teach me how to weld. And basically we did a trade-off. I traded him an hour. He traded me an hour of teaching. And from there I grew to know quite a few things about the fabrication side of stuff. And, it ended up being a pretty good deal because he taught me all the nitty gritty stuff and stuff you don't learn in college about welding, like changing bandsaw blades and this, that, and the other. So yeah, I'd say that was definitely how I got my start into welding. And like you, Brent, I really hated it a few of those times, man, because some of those times he was showing me something, he was showing me to weld, or I'd screw up a weld, or I'd blow through some 14 gauge square tubing, and he'd get on my butt about it. Being the teacher that he was, iron sharpens iron type of teacher. He wasn't going to baby you. And I'll tell you what, yeah, he definitely taught me a thing or two by being a tough old man on me. But yeah, that's how I got my start. Basically, just an apprenticeship in high school. I think it was all 4 years that I did that, and then after that, I went off to college up here in Nebraska, and that's where I met Bryn. And I really wasn't willing to get into welding as a career right away. I wasn't as interested as I am now, and then it was coming to the end of my high school career, and I realized I had to find something to do. And I was looking around. I'm thinking, well, I can weld a little bit. I know a thing or two about it. Let's go give that a try. So yeah, that's how I got my start.
Let's talk about how we met. Do you remember how we met?
Oh my gosh, the freaking hat rack, dude. Don't even get me started. Why do you got to bring that up? So I'll give you all a backstory. I like making things. I'm pretty creative, I think. But I made this half crappy hat rack out of like 1/2 inch round stock with little plates on the bottom for feet. And then I posted on Marketplace or something. And Mr. BrynWelds himself saw it. And I'll let you go from here, Bryn.
So I shoot him a message. Well, first I saw it and I was like, that is the college's campus. Who is this guy? Why didn't I see anybody making this thing? You know, it's like, it's pretty tall. You notice it when somebody's in a 2x2 booth when they got a large project going on. And so I tap on his Marketplace profile to see what else he's been selling. And because I really wanted a welder, so I was hoping he was selling a welder at the time. And I seen all these custom welding hoods, and then I was like, what the heck? I go to his profile, I do some stalking, find his Instagram, find his TikTok, and I was like, no way, I've seen this guy on TikTok. Like, how did I not know that he's at this school? And the teachers know that I'm blowing up on social media at the time, so why would they not communicate it to me that there's somebody else doing something similar? And that's when I shoot him a message on Messenger. I follow him, and then, like, I don't know, probably maybe less than a week, we hadn't even talked in person. I shot you a message, and I was like, hey, dude, I just hit 10,000 followers. I'm going to do a giveaway. Do you want to contribute? And he gave me this nice – was that the black floral design?
Was that the first one, or was it the Aztec design, like the
dude,
purple and the blue Aztec one?
Oh, wait, I think it was Gator. I think it was a Gator.
Oh, it was alligator. It was the alligator one. Yeah,
that was
I remember
a long time ago.
Yeah, you hit me up, and a 10K, it seems like so long ago. Obviously, that's a huge milestone in the social media industry. But, man, that was so long ago. I think you pulled up to my house, too, and I just handed it to you through the car window, and that was really it. But
it was so awkward, dude.
It was. But I'll tell you what, that hat rack is still sitting in the back room of that college. I saw it there last time I went there. I took a peek inside the back room, and it's sitting in the corner. So waiting for somebody to take it.
I was there the other day, and I was at the advisory board meeting. So, like, for their new shop. So they take local industry recommendations, and I went over there, and I seen it again. But they cleaned up that back room a lot, though.
Did they really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty clean.
Yeah,
but
that's how Bryn and I met. We met through a Facebook post, and we realized we went to the same school. And I'll tell you this, I was scrolling through your TikTok, I think I saw it, and I recognized the booth. I'm like, gosh, I swear that is a Central Community College welding booth. And then you messaged me on Instagram, and sure enough, we were both going to the same college. And after that, it was every giveaway after that I could get my hood in there, I would get my hood in there. So, yeah.
So let's talk about, like, our age, because we're a little bit young for the industry.
Oh, so yes, we are.
I started through high school, but at our high school, it's a dual credit course. So the welding shop is at the college, and we get college credits for it, and the high school pays for it. So that's how I was there. We would do 4 classes a year, and then I took the initiative to do night classes because I knew Mark. I knew the night class teacher from Chief, and I knew he was really good. So I really wanted to learn with him, and I would not be where I'm at today without him. He showed me so many tips and tricks. So at that time I was about 15, and then I graduated high school at 17 with pretty much half my degree done through the high school, and went to the college and did the rest of the degree in 1 year. And now I have my associates in welding, and I graduated high school at 17, college at 18, and I just bought my first house at 19.
Bryn's moving. As you can tell, we're really proud of him. As far as me, I'm currently 21. I turned 22 in April. I think I started this whole welding journey at just before I turned 15. I did all of my dual enrollment kind of like Bryn. I did a bunch of college classes in high school. So basically I had all my prereqs out of the way when I went to get my degree in welding at the Central Community College. And I knew I wanted to get my 2-year degree. I knew I wanted to take the robotics course and all that. And since I had all my prereqs out of the way, I didn't have to take college algebra, public speaking, or this, that, and the other because I already took it. So I had a real fun time in college because all I did was weld and go home and make welding hoods. It was really a gravy type of couple of years. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm 21. I don't quite have a house. I'm kind of jealous of Bryn. I'm kind of proud of him, but I'm kind of jealous at the same time. Happy for him. But I'm currently bumming it up here in Nebraska, currently like 45 minutes away from Bryn. I'm out here farming and cowboying and working out of my trailer, building welding hoods, and just living the gypsy life on the road, for lack of better words. But
Dude,
yeah,
you are
that's.
the youngest snowbird ever. My grandparents, my grandparents have been going down to Arizona forever, and my great
Yep.
grandparents even,
Oh
but
yeah.
not at the age that you're at.
You're gonna
I
find this
don't get
funny,
it.
yeah. So down in my hometown, Ocala, Florida, man, we hate. I mean, the snowbirds, they come down, and it's like the traffic's bad for like that set of months that y'all get snow up here, and it's awful. So the fact that I'm coming up here and I'm staying up here during the winter while they're down there in the winter, it's kind of great because I missed out on the snowbird traffic, so can't complain about that. But
Dude, I think
uh,
maybe it was right after FabTech, this past one in Chicago. I I texted you. Well, I think before I texted you and I said, "Hey man, are we going?" And you're like, "No, I'm going to Mexico." So you went
yeah,
to Mexico.
gotta go to
Then
Mexico. Sorry, man, my bad, man.
after Mexico, after FabTech, I look at your Snap map. I saw you were in Mexico. I look at you on the map. I think you were in Washington D.C.
What?
or
Oh,
and,
yes.
and I
Yeah.
was like, "What is this guy doing? He's on a world tour." And then I
uh,
think you went to Canada too. Did you go to
yeah,
Canada?
we took up to Niagara Falls. I think, dude, it was a whole like because my families they booked like back to back vacations. My fiance's family and then my actual family's whatever they booked like back to back vacations. So I went to Mexico and then I got back from Mexico. Then I went with my fiance's family. They went to like Pennsylvania, whatever, Washington D.C. We went up to Canada to go to Niagara, and then drove all the way back. So yeah, I was a traveling man. I know it was pretty funny. Everybody was looking at my snap maps like, dude, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, dude. I thought I was just following the world tour of Southern Leatherworks. I thought
You're
you were
not
going to
right.
Africa next.
Built hoods in Africa. Wouldn't that be a sight?
So let's talk a little bit about why we started this podcast. For
Yeah.
me, I think we both have different reasons. So, and some of them might align. For me, I love Arc Junkies podcast, Jason Becker, and Well.com's podcast with Bo. And I think that I know Bo posts on Fridays, and I'm not sure about Jason, but two podcasts is not enough for my 512s at
Nope.
work. And I love listening to podcasts. So one, I get to listen to this and we'll drop it on a different date. And if you don't know, which I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know well.com and Arc Junkies podcast, go give them a listen and drop the star
Absolutely.
at the top. Those guys, I just love their podcast. They have great guests.
Oh, it's
Um,
wonderful. Absolutely. Very informative. I think for anybody getting in the industry, it's definitely something to listen to. And even if you've been in the industry for a while, it's definitely someone to go check out.
Yeah. And another reason is with my social medias, I rarely show my face and I rarely get to talk with my actual voice. So I want to be able to reach out to my audience like through my voice instead of a video with a generated voice. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, on TikTok and just showing welds. I want to be able to meet them on a
Absolutely.
personal wave like that. So yeah, that's about it for me. And I really do not want this to be a formal podcast. I don't
No.
care about the deals we get. Whatever comes, I don't care. We're not doctors. We're not lawyers. We're welders. So
We
let's
are
keep it
welders.
informal and entertaining while being informative.
Absolutely. I'll bounce off that and say BrynWelds doesn't show his face so much that when we first linked up and he first messaged me, I didn't know what he looked like. I tried stalking his TikTok. I'm like, dude, I don't even know what this kid looks like. I know what welding hood he wears. He has got that Miller, kind of a standing out type weld. I can't remember what model it is,
It's
but
tattooed on my arm, the Miller
yeah, it's tattooed on.
294.
Yeah, yep, that one. I was like, dude, I don't even know what this guy looks like. But hey, there we go. So yeah.
I was in that gold Ford 500, my first car. Dude,
Yeah.
I wish I did not sell that thing because when I bought my truck, I didn't have room for two cars. So one
Yep.
was always in the road, and So I sold it the day after I bought my truck, and I just put it on Marketplace, and I took the first offer I got,
Yeah.
and they bought it. And 2 hours later, I look, they flipped it. Yeah,
Ah,
which is totally
but
fine because I drove
yeah.
it for 15,000 miles, and I didn't change the oil one time. But you're damn right, I
Oh
reset
my!
that oil life.
You reset the oil limit.
Yeah,
Oh,
but the
jeez.
liability's on them. Because
Yep.
they
Hey.
sold it, it's
Yep.
on them. It's been about 3 years now, or two years, and I haven't heard nothing from it. So
Hey man, that's a statute of limitations or something, you know.
yeah. So what's your
Oh man.
reasoning of wanting to start the podcast?
Man, I just feel like there is a lack of information for kids coming into this industry like you and I did. And there is just no information on the routes they can take or the things they can do. And sometimes older people just aren't willing to help them out with that. And it kind of hurts my heart to see, kids struggling kind of like I did, like, how do I get into this industry? What do I do? Where do I start? So my heart in this podcast is to spread information like that. Good ways to do it, whether it's union or school or going to work at a fab shop, doesn't matter. And you know what? I'd like to dive more into the social media world of welding. I don't think we have enough about that. Talking about the heavy hitters in the industry and the guys that are really putting out good words in the welding social media industry. So if I could say anything, I'd like to help the younger up and coming guys, help them any way we can, and then to kind of keep you all updated on what's going on in the social media world. So yeah.
I completely agree. For you, was the passion to weld instant, or is it something that came over
Oh,
time?
no, it was not instant. There for probably, a little while, it was like, I don't want to do this. This is not something I want to do. I don't enjoy this. Why would I want to do this? This sucks. Um, I want to do something else. And then, I took a little bit of a break from welding, didn't quite go out to my apprenticeship, for probably a month or two. And then I started to miss it, and I realized just how much I like being able to create things and weld things and build things and solve problems and make things better. So I definitely wouldn't say the passion was overnight, but I would definitely say once it caught up to me, yeah, it was a fire. Once I realized that's what I wanted to do, and I was all for it. I was all in on it. You put me in, you put me up here in the college, and all I had to do was learn to weld, and I was all about it. So, and I got to learn all sorts of new things. So, what about you? How instant do you think it was for BrynWelds?
Oh, dude, it took forever. So the shop
Yeah.
class at the high school that was 1 year, and then I went. That was sophomore year, and then junior year, if you're still into it, you get to go to college. So even when I went to the college, it was still I just have nothing to do, like
Yep.
no plan in life. Besides, party rock, drugs, all that, drugs, drinking,
Yep. Yep. You had that
and
part.
well, it kind of, a lot of welders and blue collar workers are infamous for doing drugs and drinking
Oh
and
yeah.
all that. Like that's kind of a stereotype, I'd say. But it did the opposite for me. It sobered me up because when I got that apprenticeship at Chief Fabrication in Grand Island, when I was 16, I just turned 16. That's what sobered me up because I knew there was random drug tests.
Yeah, you got to be able to pass a random drug test.
What who are some of the mentors along the way that you can credit a lot of your success to?
Well, I'm gonna shout him out here. I won't say his last name. I'll just say his name's Mr. Dave. That's what I always call him, Mr. Dave. That was my welding master, welding teacher, whatever you want to call it. He was always there for me. He was always there with some strict criticism of what I was doing to make me, better. As I said, iron sharpens iron, and he was definitely the big, mean, nasty 6'6". He's tall. He's a tall boy. He was a big hunk of iron to sharpen me. He was definitely probably I can attribute all of my welding skills to him as my mentor, and also my dad. My dad supported me from the very beginning. He saw what I was doing, and he saw that it was a tangible trade, and he backed me on it. And he definitely helped me get a start here and there, and was able to give me some guidance. But as far as me getting into the welding, I would definitely attribute mostly to my mom. My mom is what got me into this. She's the one that basically said, "Hey, there's this apprenticeship going on or something for welding. Do you want to try it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'd like to try it." And she got me started in that, and she said, "You're going to do this and you're going to try it and you're going to see how it goes, because you don't like school, and we all know you don't like school, so why are we going to keep banging your head against the concrete with school?" And then as soon as she heard that there was a welding college that offered the 2-year degree and the welding robotics and everything I was looking for, they offered it in her hometown, which she was born and raised here in Grand Island, Nebraska. It was over from there. Like, I told her the night before, the next day, which I think was a Tuesday, she had me signed up, ready for orientation, and going to Central Community College out here in Nebraska. I didn't have a choice after I told her that, because it gave her the excuse to come up here and see her family and visit more often and stuff like that. But I would definitely give the greatest respect to the person who got me into the welding industry was my mom, for sure. What about you? What got you into it?
Oh man, I've had a lot of good mentors along the way. I would say, as life as a whole, my parents, because I had the best of both worlds. My dad is in the industry and has been for 40 years, and worked for the company that I worked for previously for 35 years. He's worked there.
Oh yeah.
And my mom's, she's a loan officer, so that helped me with real estate, getting the house and all that. Made it way easier, because realtors are like salesmen. They will sell you. They know problems, but
Yep.
they won't tell you. And
Yep.
so my mom knows all the inspectors and all the all the inspectors and all the realtors in town. So they don't want to ruin that relationship that they have with my mom, because she brings them work. So they're brutally honest. We go to the first house that I was, I'm the kind of guy, when I look at cars, houses, guns, I want it. I want the first one I look at. I have no patience. So we go to that first house, and they're like, we walk in, the realtor pulls us aside. "Hey, this foundation is going to collapse." We're, what? What are you talking about? Why is this on the market? We go down there, and there was like 12 floor jacks holding up the floor to the main level.
Oh my.
And
Jeez.
A complete corner of foundation was taken out. Like, you can see earth, like dirt.
Oh
A
my
complete,
gosh.
it was probably 3 foot by 3 foot, just this huge,
Oh jeez. Yep.
just straight dirt in the basement. And the 12 floor jacks were within like 9 feet of each other. It was horrible. And I was so bummed. And that house reeked of cigarettes, but I didn't care. I wanted it.
You wanted it.
The first one I see. But we did get pretty lucky here. And so my parents are big mentors for me. I 100%, they've backed me on everything. Brandon Pearsall, Mike Snell, and John Wilmus, and Mark Senf, the welding instructors at Central Community College, Nebraska. They each bring something different to the table. John owned welding supply store, so he knows welders inside and out like nothing. Gases, they mix their own gases now. Brandon was Army, so not only he was career Army, so Brandon will thicken your skin like that. And
he is the old Army coot that is sitting in the corner there giving you hell. I mean, absolutely love him, but he is going to sharpen you, that's for sure. He'll tell you to go back and redo a weld test. He don't care.
He's really what I want to say. When I came in, actually, they kicked me out. Brandon and Mike did. They kicked me out. Yeah, because I welded brass knuckles in the booth. And Brandon walks in. He says, "Brent, what are those?" And I was like, "What do you want to hear?" And he was like,
"What do I got to tell you to not get in trouble here? Because we both know what I'm building."
I said, "What do you want to hear?" And he was like, "I don't, but I got to get Mr. Snell." So he goes and gets Mike. Mike comes in.
Oh, my gosh.
And Mike's like, "Oh, yeah, we can't be doing that."
Fucking Mike. He's always about that. Oh, Can't be doing that. Nope, 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 nope.
So Mike walks away, and Brandon's like, "Well, he didn't kick you out, but I don't know what to do with you. What is it?" And I was like, "It's a 3-ring binder." That's what I said. And it's literally
it's a
it's
paperweight.
Like
damn it!
It's like 4 huge galvanized nuts just welded together that I could put my fingers in. And I had
Not
no
only were
reason.
you high from the galvanized, but you're trying to convince Brandon that they're a 4-ring binder.
Yeah, we still laugh about that today. So those 4 teachers, Mark, Mike, and John and Brandon, they were great. And then one of the students I met there, Stephen Floyd. Stephen was career Navy. So
Yep.
Stephen also is kind of what made me grow up and be an adult. Stephen's mindset and attitude are just contagious on really what you should have in the industry. You need a strong mindset to last in the industry. I feel like what drives you, you got to stay driven to wake up at 4 a.m. and go work 12 hours all day. And I think Stephen's a big part of that. And we'll go fishing and stuff like that. So not only was he a good mentor, but we still stay in touch, and now he's a good friend. I told him to listen to our episode with Bo from well.com, and he I don't think he ever did. I don't think he listened to the one with me, you, Jordan Packer, and Bo and Doc, because we shouted him out in there too, but I don't think he listened. What about you for guests? Who would you want as a guest?
Oh, gosh. I think first and foremost, I'd like to have Tyler Sass on from Western Welding Academy to truly hear what the insight is on his program that he runs, because the story behind it seems pretty cool that he ran, he started that from the ground up, but I'd really like to hear what's going on over there, get through all the drama that you see, and see if they really turn out some of the best welders that money could buy at, I think it's up to 40 grand or something now for the course or something crazy like that, which is a lot of money, but I'd like to see him first and foremost. I'm kind of going along the lines of you. I'd like to see a lot of the Edge crew on there. I'd like to see Johnny Welds come on here and talk to us about what he's doing with his metal art. I love to see what he does. I think he does some pretty cool stuff. I think Missy Metal is also on the Edge welding crew still, I believe. I'd like to hear more about her robotic side of the working industry. And yeah, I think if I could see those 3 and maybe a few more of the Edge crew, that'd be pretty darn cool. So
another one that I want is the kid that Tigs. That dude was so early onto TikTok welding. He's the reason
he's pinnacle. I mean, that is like, we all remember the kid that Tigs when he first came out. Like, that was 2020. That was late 2020. We saw in 2021, whatever. He came out and it was like, wow, this guy can freaking weld. So
yeah, it was like him and laying beads.
Yep, laying beads. Yes, absolutely.
Dude, the kid that Tigs, Zach, he's the reason I asked for the Miller T94 for Christmas when I was 15.
Really? That was the reason? No kidding.
Yeah, because he ran it, and I'm still running it. I still run that helmet. It's tattooed on my arm now. He got it through his college in Wisconsin, which is also where Miller's from. So they would give them to the local high school when they were just a prototype, or the local colleges when they were a prototype, and see what the kids think about them. And that's how he got his.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. I remember seeing him when he first started, and man, it was like, wow, this kid can take some stainless. All right, cool.
Yeah. Dude, I would love to have the owner of Everlast and Jesse McCollum on at the same time.
If we would strike out and get so lucky to do that, I think we reach the pinnacle, because that would be pretty darn cool, because you have an Everlast and I have an Everlast, and we both really like Everlast. So I would like to get him on here just at least to say thank you for making such a darn good machine. I was actually using it this last week when I was down in Florida doing some welding, and I'll tell you what, I took it on the job site and had no issues, wheeled it around on a dolly and welded everything I needed to weld up, and it's just, I think it's probably the best machine, best bang for your buck, no doubt about it. when you can't go
That's a
spend $5,000 on a single process welding Miller welder, then you know what? I think Everlast is more than enough to accomplish anything you need to accomplish. Shameless plug
that's a
to
good
Everlast.
transition
Shameless
point
plug.
too. Well, we're about to do a little bit more. That's a good transition to why we're not going to go for sponsors right now. And
yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's something we got to talk about.
One thing for me is I don't know how companies will feel that we aren't going to be formal and we're going to cuss and we're going to talk about guns and things that might be
Yeah.
controversial, quote unquote, nowadays. And so we're just going to promote our personal endeavors. For me, it's Everlast and Edge. You know, if you want to buy an Everlast, shoot me a message on what you need and what processes, AC, DC, all that. What kind of work you're going to be doing,
absolutely.
and I'll hook you right up with the upgraded Nova torch and foot pedal, and I get a small commission off of that. Edge Welding Cups, code BrynWelds15, I believe. And we'll put the links in the show notes, as well as Andrew, you've got some things that obviously on your end.
Yeah, I got Southern Leatherworks, and I'm going to plug Southern Leatherworks, and I'm sure we'll have an episode on kind of what you're doing just about you, and then an episode on what I'm doing with my welding hoods. I mean, I'm not ashamed to I'm not ashamed to plug what I'm doing. I've worked really hard at it, so I think I've earned it. But yeah, I don't think we'll be going for many sponsorships here because I don't think many corporations will understand the loose and rowdy podcast we're trying to go for. We're not trying to be too terribly formal. We're trying to be fun, and we're trying to give you all something to listen to while you're working, those 12-hour days.
But the companies that will want to do it are going to be the perfect ones for us, that don't care about what gets said. They don't expect us to speak like attorneys and all that.
All right, so Bryn, along your journey in the welding industry, what have been some challenges for you?
The naysayers in the beginning on the TikTok comments, we talked about that a little bit earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I used to take them serious. I used to take them straight to the heart. And sometimes they do still fuck me up. And like if I'm promoting a product on the TikTok shop, like for example, those fake leather Chinese boots that I did, that got a ton of hate. And I want to delete it so bad. But if I do, then I have to make another one because that's the way the TikTok shop works. And so the naysayers, my own head, I think I get into my own head a little bit about comparing myself to other welders. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're all doing the same thing. We're all growing, learning, and gaining more experience.
Absolutely. Gosh, I'd have to jump off of yours. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. The naysayers, man, they love to hate. Like, these are trash, Outlaw's better, Pipeliner's Cloud's better, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. I mean, it was a dog-eat-dog because my first video did pretty good. People were pretty psyched about it. But it seemed like every video after that, 3, 4, 5 people in the comments of, these are trash, why would you buy these, blah, blah, blah. And it was definitely a hurdle to get over. And then the naysayers, there was quite a few people who were like, well, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. And they definitely didn't understand the thing I was trying to do. And I don't even think I understood what I was trying to do really, but I knew I wanted to make a full-time business out of it, which I have. So I would definitely say the TikTok haters and the naysayers were probably the biggest hurdles to get over because people behind phone screens love to hate.
Yeah, and comparing you to Outlaw and Pipeliner's Cloud is kind of invalid because it's a similar product but a different category of that product, I'd say.
Exactly.
Yours is more
absolutely
custom and trying to be affordable, and they're, shooting for a expensive luxury product, and it's I don't know. It's kind of an invalid comparison.
I agree, but people they see something, they look similar, so surely I'm just jimmying off or copying them or whatnot. But I'll tell you what, they make very nice luxury hoods. The nice caiman leather or the fish leather or whatever you want to call it. But that's not what I'm driven towards. I'm driven towards giving people a good quality product at an affordable price, because things these days are way too darn expensive, and I'm not going to be the guy that jacks you over a cheap a welding hood that I built, by my hands. I'm the only one who's building these hoods. It is me, myself, and I in the Southern Leatherworks trailer. I'm not trying to jack y'all over on price. I'm trying to give y'all something affordable that you can be proud of to pull out of your box on the job site. That's my whole thing. I want to give you all the best quality product for your price. And I think, I have done that in the past years. I'm not someone to brag on myself, but I know for sure I have given my customers a quality product worth way more than the price that they paid. And I continuously get reviews like that. Like, yeah, I got a quality product that was worth way more than what I paid for it. So that tells me I'm doing something right.
Yeah, and there's definitely no bad blood between you and Outlaw because, I think we've both met Jesus, the owner of Outlaw Leather.
Yes, I love
And
Jesus. Absolutely.
dude,
Nicest guy
I
ever.
talked to him.
Absolutely.
I talked to him for a long time at FabTech this year, just because he is
Really?
so, yeah, he is so honest, like a stand up dude. Him and his wife, and she
Yes.
owns Rugged Charms, which you
Yep.
got two things. You got Rugged Charms, and then you got Fresh Welder that are kind of in that jewelry welding making with the charms and all
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
And dude, Fresh Welder will tax the piss out of you. It is crazy how
Really?
expensive those are. Yeah, compared to Rugged Charms, but they're good people over
Yeah.
there, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Price seems a
Absolutely.
little
Not that's
crazy
the thing.
for me.
I've met. Yeah. Yeah, I met Jesus, I think, in Atlanta. I shook his hand, talked to him a little bit. Like I said, no bad blood at all. Absolutely love what they do. I love their hoods. I was just looking to go a little different route for the people that, may not be able to afford what they sell, which, you know what? They sell some really nice stuff, and, they ask a price for it that I think is fair because, it's some high quality stuff. So, yeah, no bad blood at all. Absolutely love y'all over at Outlaw Leather, and love what y'all do.
All right, man. I think it's about time to wrap it up. But here's one thing that I think we're
Okay.
gonna do with all our guests. We're gonna ask, what is your favorite music genre to listen to while welding? I'm listening to some pretty heavy rock, I'd say. I love there's this band is pretty small. This band is pretty small, and it's called Ghost Seeker, and they're from New Zealand, I believe. And dude, I went and took a weld test down in Kansas, which I'm sure we'll get into in a later episode, for FabStar Performance Fabrication. Yeah, building drag cars, and I walk in, and this dude is not a tiny guy. He's like, I don't know, 6'9", and a hefty man, and he is upside down in this drag car welding on the chassis, and he had surround sound blasting Ghost Seekers, and I said, "What is this song?" And he told me, dude, he was so knowledgeable. I learned so much in that. It was like a 4 hour. I drove 7 hours and then stayed there for like 4 hours, weld test, interview, just talked to him, and then drove 7 hours back. And yeah, dude. So some heavy metal. I really like Ghost Seeker. I like classic rock too. I'll listen to pretty much anything. And I think that'll do it for the episode. For all the listeners, this is our first episode. It'll only get better, and we really appreciate you tuning in. Check the show notes if you're interested in a Southern Leatherworks hood or custom gloves or belts coming soon, as you heard here. Everlast Welders, Edge Welding Cups. And we appreciate you listening. Shoot us a message on some social medias at Southern Leatherworks or at BrynWelds. If you have any tips or recommendations or suggestions for who we should have, what we should change, all that. Thank you for listening. This has been BrynWelds, and we're out.